Welcome to Silicon Scoop, where we dive into the latest tech news impacting the world. Join John Irwin and the Startup Coach as they explore the tech news that matters to you. Stay ahead, stay informed, and now on with the show.
For 100 years, scientists have been stuck behind a mathematical wall that turned simple material simulations into 1,000-hour nightmares. But a new AI framework called THOR just smashed that wall, crashing calculation times from months to mere seconds. So THOR smashes the material science bottleneck. Researchers at Los Alamos have launched the THOR AI framework, which uses tensor-networks to calculate how atoms arrange themselves in solids. It effectively solves the curse of dimensionality that has plagued statistical mechanics for over a century. This turns the impossible into the instant, accelerating the discovery of next-gen batteries, aerospace alloys, and semiconductors by a factor of 400x. What do you think of this, John?
Yeah, so I found this article a couple of weeks ago, and so I feel like it's outdated, but I don't think it is. I think it's just because how much you and I stay on top of things. But I still think this is relevant, and we'll talk about the reasons why. So the reason why classical methods fail, because historically physics have relied on indirect methods such as molecular dynamics simulations or Monte Carlo methods. And so these simulate particle motion over time to approximate the integral, right? So while they're still useful, they still require enormous computing power, and they take weeks or months, and they still introduce approximation errors. In fact, solving the configurational integral exactly using classical computation could take longer than the age of the universe in some cases. So what THOR does is THOR stands for Tensors for High Dimensional Object Representation, and it solves this by combining tensor network mathematics and machine learning potentials. So instead of brute force computation, THOR represents the high dimensional problem as a network of small tensors. It uses tensor train cross interpolation to compress the data. It identifies symmetries in crystal structures, and it focuses computation only on the most relevant interactions, so by doing this, it reduces a massive multi-dimensional problem into a manageable structure. So essentially turning an impossible calculation into a traceable one. And like you said, from weeks to seconds. And it's already been validated on copper, metal behavior under pressure, argon, high pressure gas states, and tin, solid-solid phase transitions. So I think this is a super cool advancement, and it's not just faster computing. It's more of a paradigm shift because it moves from approximation to exact calculation. It enables exploration of previously unreachable physical regimes, and it provides a new computational foundation for material science and thermodynamics. But what I like about this is it's doing this without quantum computing, right? And so this is something that you would think, based on the amount of computations that are needed, that this would be a problem that quantum computing would solve, not AI, right? You're on mute.
When you see an article like this, a 400x breakthrough, we always assume it's quantum, but it's interesting that it's just an AI framework they put together. I like to think of this update like trying to find one specific grain of gold on a massive beach. Traditional methods made you sift through every grain of sand one by one. Takes forever. THOR is like having a powered metal detector that ignores the sand entirely and points you directly to the gold in seconds. It doesn't work harder. It just ignores the noise.
Yeah.
So peer review results were published late last year. The framework implementation is currently rolling out in the labs. It's being funded by the US LDRD, primarily available to institutions and academic researchers. It works both in legacy type binding models and cutting edge HIP-NNN machine language potentials. So we're going to see faster development cycles for tech inside your pocket. Think of phone batteries that last longer and chips that run cooler arriving years sooner than expected once we start utilizing this kind of technology. The specs, 400 times speed up over traditional Los Alamos simulation baselines. Rank 1 and Rank 2 tensor training schemes we mentioned optimize the Boltzmann weighted densities. It's been validated under extreme stress, gigapascal pressures. Underlying science, the THOR relies on, you already talked about the tensor train cross interpolation, so I won't get into that. And this is the biggest leap in computational thermodynamics since the introduction of the Monte Carlo simulation in the 1940s. It moves us from stochastic guessing to structured reconstruction, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's essentially going to compress years of R&D into days or hours, which is absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, and the curse of dimensionality isn't just a catchy name. It refers to the fact of adding just one atom to a simulation increases the mathematical complexity exponentially, not linearly. So the research was birthed at the Los Alamos National Laboratory, the same place that developed the atomic bomb, proving they are still heavyweights of the big physics in computing. While THOR is currently tested on boring crystals like copper and tin, the math behind it, tensor networks, was originally popularized in the world of quantum physics to describe subatomic entanglement. So what are the skeptics saying, John?
Yeah. So obviously we've got skeptics out there, but it's the thing to think about this is it's not discovering new physics laws. And so we're not trying to break things or anything like that. Physics, they already have the equations, but we just couldn't solve them. So what this does is it's making existing ones computationally usable. So like the skeptics can talk all they want, but it's not, it isn't, they could say they're taking a shortcut, but I disagree. I think what they're doing is they're just approaching it in a more efficient manner, where they'll get better outcomes.
Yeah, this THOR currently excels only with ordered crystalline solids. So if you're working with messy amorphous materials like glass or liquid polymers, this framework isn't a magic wand yet. So yeah, we'll have to see. Keep an eye on this because this looks like it has great potential in the future of so many different things. Like I said, we could see this changing things in your pocket incredibly. And if this is the biggest breakthrough since a Monte Carlo simulation, which you use all the time in project management, not sure if you're aware of that, but yeah, it's definitely something that we use a lot. I'd like to see how this is applied to these things going forward. So we are entering the era of instant thermodynamics, where the bottleneck is no longer the computer, but our own scientific imagination. If you could design a dream material tomorrow, maybe a room temperature semiconductor or a battery that charges in 5 seconds, what would you build first? Let us know in the chat. Tired of drowning in repetitive tasks while your competitors race ahead? Every minute you spend on manual data entry, scheduling, and routine processes is a minute you're not growing your business. Flowgrammer.ca transforms your workflow chaos into seamless automation. We build AI-powered systems that handle your busy work so you can focus on what actually makes you money. Our clients typically save 15 plus hours per week and see their productivity double within 60 days. Visit flowgrammer.ca for a free automation audit. That's flowgrammer.ca. Stop working in your business and start working on it.
What do you got going on, John?
Yeah, just plugging away, helping companies with government funding, attending events, probably startup drinks or Flowgrammer events. How about you, Craig?
Lots of stuff going on. I honestly don't know when this is going out. I have to check. I think it's going to go out in April. But there's all sorts of stuff going on. If you don't know about OpenClaw, it's the latest AI automation agent that's taken the world by storm in 2026. And OpenClaw Toronto chapter just launched. And we have all sorts of events going on. So check out openclawto.com. Our first demo night is April 14th. We have a Builder Cafe on April 10th. We have a bunch of other events. There's updates every day. We've deconstructed the latest 2 betas over the weekend that was launched in OpenClaw and what you should do about them. There's a bunch of articles over there. Go check that out. We're also over at flowgrammer.ca where we do N8N automations. We run the Flowgrammer community. I do Builders Hub and connectivity for AI and business automation agents. And for everything else, head over to Toronto Starts, where we hook up startups and investors at our Startup Investor Drinks. We do mentoring, we do workshops, we have a list of investors. There's a whole bunch of content over. You can also book me over there if you want a meeting with me to talk about whatever, help your startup. Check out TorontoStarts.com. But John, if people are looking for non-dilutive funding, where should they go and what is that?
Yeah, non-dilutive funding. We're talking government grants, tax credits. Come find me on LinkedIn if you have any questions. Right now is shred time, SRDD. But come reach out to me too if you've got a startup, if you've got a company, reach out to me if you have any questions. And if they have company questions about their startup in general, where do they find you, Craig?
Yeah, find me at TorontoStarts.com. But John, just before we go, something's open right now, and it's closing May 31st. Thank you. Can Export. And what?
Yeah. So
what
if
should
you have
people
at
know
least
about that?
300,000 in revenue in the previous year, and you're looking to expand outside of Canada, reach out to me, and we can put together. We can talk about an application for Can Export.
All the links we talked about will be in the show notes wherever you're watching this. Thanks for watching, everybody. Leave us a comment, give us a like, give us a subscribe. We really appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in to Silicon Scoop. We hope you enjoyed this episode's dive into the latest tech news. Stay connected with John Irwin and the Startup Coach on LinkedIn and subscribe for more insights and updates. Until next time, stay ahead, stay informed.